just wake up one day and think, I want to make myself feel stupid today. Hi besties, welcome. I hope you're doing well. If you can see at any point during this video how messy my room is behind me, no you can't. If you're new here, you may or may not know that last year around this time I did a Rory Gilmore reading vlog where I read a bunch of books that Rory reads in Gilmore Girls. So now I know I've read at least 5 or 6 of the books that Rory mentions on Gilmore Girls, but today I'm gonna find out the exact number. How many books on the Rory Gilmore reading challenge I've read. And in doing this, I might pick and choose a couple titles to do a sequel video to the Rory Gilmore reading vlog I did last year, but we'll see, because that video took me months to film because I had to read Anna Karenina. Anyway, she's crazy. Rory is unhinged. And then I might also take a couple like Gilmore Girls BuzzFeed quizzes, because when I was looking up this quiz, there was one that was like, which Gilmore Girls boy is your soulmate? And I would like to know. That's something I would like to know. I have my Smells Like Logan Huntsberger candle burning right now. I really should make a therapy appointment. Anyway, because there's like 500 and something books on this list, we're just gonna dive right in. Starting with 1984 by George Orwell. I have read that book. I don't love it, but I've read it. Adventures of Huckleberry Finn I read in high school. Also don't remember very much about that one. Alice in Wonderland is one of my faves. I love Alice in Wonderland, and it makes so much sense to me that Rory and Lorelai make so many Alice in Wonderland jokes, because they are so like whimsical and weird, and their heads work in such an interesting way, and so does Alice's, so that one makes sense to me. The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay. Literally the only time I've ever heard of this book is when I've seen other people do this video. So no, I have not read that one. Anna Karenina I read for my Rory Gilmore reading vlog last year, and I wish I could get those hours back, quite honestly. Sorry, Tolstoy. Sorry, Anna. Anne Frank, The Diary of a Young Girl. We read the play version of this in high school, but I've never read the actual diary. No. As I Lay Dying, no. See, this is where I really start to feel stupid. Okay, I've read The Awakening by Kate Chopin. Great book, love it. The Bell Jar is a fave. They reference The Bell Jar all the time on Gilmore Girls, and it's one of my favorite books. I read Beowulf in high school. I did not like it. The thing about Rory is that she'll read anything. It's very difficult to pinpoint what her taste is because she reads so broadly. Haven't read Candide. I read the Canterbury Tales in high school. I don't know if I read all of them, but we studied them for like a month, so I'm going with I've read it. The Catcher in the Rye I read in high school, and I thought it was okay. Charlotte's Web I read when I was a kid and cried like a baby. I have not read Christine, the Haunted Car book by Stephen King. You know, sometimes you see a Stephen King book and you're like, you really ran out of ideas, didn't you? How many books has Stephen King written? 65 novels, 11 collections, 5 nonfiction. That's 81 books, over 200 short stories. Just percentage-wise, some of them have to be flops. And I haven't read Christine, so I can't say whether it's a flop, but the concept of a haunted car is kind of a flop. Sorry, Steve. A Christmas Carol I have read many times. I usually read it in December. I have not read A Clockwork Orange, and I do find this cover genuinely bone-chilling. Like, I find this horrifying. I find the concept of whatever this is, I don't even know what the concept is, but I find A Clockwork Orange horrifying to me. Dorothy Parker. Okay, I'm gonna count Dorothy Parker, even though I haven't read the complete stories of Dorothy Parker, but I read a bunch of Dorothy Parker stories for that video last year, so I'm counting it because I spent a lot of time with Dorothy Parker. The Crucible I've read many times. You don't grow up doing theater and not have to suffer through the Crucible many times. Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, I've seen the play, which is fantastic. I have not read the novel, however. No. I've actually never read Charles Dickens. A Christmas Carol I have read many times. Death of a Salesman I've read. I like it more than The Crucible. It's not my favorite. Devil in the White City is like so high on my TBR. I might read that one for Bloomin' this month because I have to read a nonfiction, and I've been really meaning to read Devil in the White City. The Divine Comedy. We read this in high school. We read Inferno. I'm gonna count it. I haven't read any of these. I do remember though I was on the academic team in middle school. I was captain. Big Rory vibes for that. But I remember one kid knew that the answer was Don Quixote for something, but he had only ever read those words. He had never like heard them. And so he buzzes in and very confidently goes, Don Quixote. And we were on the floor. We were laughing so hard. It was very, very funny. I actually won our academic team competition with a My Little Pony question. So I too am an intellectual. Complete Tales and Poems of Edgar Allan Poe. Here's the thing with these. I have not read everything Edgar Allan Poe has written, but I've read a significant amount of his work, so I'm going to include it. Because sometimes when Rory references like an author or something, they put it on this list as like the complete, and it's like, this is probably from the Poe episode where they have a Poe, like they have the fake Poes come to Stark's Hollow and they like all read The Raven. But I've read a ton of Poe and I really, really love Edgar Allan Poe. I haven't read everything he's ever written. I Have a Life, unlike Rory. I almost read the Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test for the Jess Mariano reading vlog that I made after my Rory one, but I didn't because it sounded like it was going to be really difficult to read. Definitely read Eloise as a child. Emma I have read. It's not my favorite Jane Austen, but it's Jane Austen, so it's like better than a lot of other things. Oh, Rory's picks are putting me to sleep. So far I'm at 5%. Not doing great. My goal is like 15%. It's way too high. Like I'm never going to get 15%. Ray Bradbury I've read. Read Fahrenheit 451. I really enjoyed that book. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is a Dean recommendation. He tells Rory to read it, and therefore I haven't and won't because I hate him. I've never read Lord of the Rings and I won't. Fiddler on the Roof. Again, I've seen the musical. Actually, have I? No, I've seen them do it in Gilmore Girls. I seen Kirk play Tevye with a bunch of elementary schoolers playing every other part. I read The Five People You Meet in Heaven, but I don't remember anything about it. We read Flowers for Algernon in middle school. I swear we read it. Because I remember the mouse, and the mouse is like doing tests and stuff, right? Definitely have not read The Fountainhead. Rory recommends Jess to read that, and Jess is like, that does not sound fun, and I agree with Jess. Frankenstein I've read, and I liked it. Franny and Zoe I read and really enjoyed. I have not read George W. Bush-isms. None. Oh, well, I've read Goldilocks. Gatsby is one of my favorite books of all time. Absolutely. Just reread it recently in my 1920s video. If you're interested in hearing my thoughts. Hamlet I've read, God, I don't know how many times. All the Harry Potters. Okay, we're at 8%. Hold on. Maybe I have a shot. Maybe I have a shot at hitting my goal. I've read Holidays on Ice by David Sedaris. Of course, I've read The Grinch. Are you kidding me? I read Howl for my Rory video last year and really enjoyed it. I read and loved In Cold Blood. One of my favorite books I read that year in high school English class was In Cold Blood. It was so good. Oh, well, they had Dante's trilogy before, and now they have Inferno. I definitely read Inferno, and I already checked off the trilogy, and I'm not going backwards. I read Jane Eyre for my reading like Cat Stratford from 10 Things I Hate About You, but double duty also got me a point with Rory. And I liked Jane Eyre. Okay, it was a little long, but I liked it. I've read Julius Caesar. I read The Jungle by Upton Sinclair for my Progressive Era video. It kind of dragged, but the themes and the messaging was really great, so I'm glad I read it, but I don't think I would ever like revisit it. I've read The Kite Runner. I read that in high school, and it destroyed me. I read Leaves of Grass for my Rory Gilmore video because Richard gives her a copy of it in Greek. Little Women is on my favorite shelf, one of my very favorite books of all time, so absolutely have read that one. I loved Lord of the Flies. Read that in 8th grade. Read The Lottery the next year, and absolutely adore both of these. I think they're incredible. Macker's one of my absolute faves. I was in that play, so I definitely read it. One of Shakespeare's best, truly. I read The Metamorphosis in high school and thought it was fun to read in high school because it's so insane. I think one day I will conquer Moby Dick. Today is not that day. I recently read Mrs. Dalloway for my 1920s video, and I did not like it, which was shocking. Virginia Woolf, such a famous feminist writer, but I was not a fan of Mrs. Dalloway. I much preferred A Room of One's Own. We're at 13%. Like, we're doing pretty well. Maybe we will hit it. I've read many Emily Dickinson poems, not all of them, but I'm gonna check that off. Night by Elie Wiesel I read in middle school. Some of these are like so strange. I've read Of Mice and Men, the book and the play. Preferred the play. I mean, I've read Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I don't think I've read Old School. I also don't think this could have been what they referenced. This has to be wrong. When was Diary of a Wimpy Kid published? Diary of a Wimpy Kid was published in April of 2007, and Gilmore Girls, the original, ended its run in May of 2007, so there's no way in hell they referenced that unless it was in the revival. Maybe it's in the revival. I don't remember that. On the Road, I read for my Jess video, and I did not enjoy my time with it. But I've read The Picture of Dorian Gray, and I've read Perks of Being a Wallflower. Love Perks of Being a Wallflower. It's on my favorite shelf. One of my favorite depictions of young people grappling with mental illness that I've ever read. Picture of Dorian Gray, everybody loves. I did not like it. It was fine. Pride and Prejudice, I've read, one of my favorite books of all time, forever and ever and ever. Love it so much. Jane Austen went off with Pride and Prejudice. The Raven and Other Poems, I'm gonna check it off. Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption, I've read that. Very good. Very, very good novella from Stephen King. Romeo and Juliet, I've read a million, bajillion, trillion times. I hit 15%! Oh my god. Do we think I can hit 20? I don't know. We only have like 2 pages left, so I doubt it. I've read A Room of One's Own by Virginia Woolf, and I really enjoyed it. A Room with a View is a fave. Love A Room with a View. I think it's such a wonderful book. Secret Life of Bees, I've read many times. A Separate Peace, I read in high school. The Shining, I've read. Siddhartha, I've read. Okay, wait. We have a shot at getting 20%. Slaughterhouse 5 is one of my very, very, very favorite books. The Sound and the Fury, I just read for my 1920s video. Tennessee Williams' Streetcar Named Desire, I've read. I love, love, love Tennessee Williams, and I love that play. Stuart Little, I've read as a child. I've read The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway. Why are we doing so good right now? To Kill a Mockingbird, I've read, of course. Richard III, I've read. I've read Ulysses. That should count for like 50 of these books. But I have read Ulysses. Last page, and I'm at 19%. Can we hit 20? I've read The Wizard of Oz. Oh shit, I have to get another one. Dang it! Oh, I thought the Year of Magical Thinking was gonna put me at 20%. 19%. 66 out of 339. And you know what? Like, percentage-wise, I have failed, but I'm very proud of myself. One, I did better than 84% of users on this list, I guess. The average score is 51. I did better than average. Like Rory, I've been reading since the time I was in kindergarten, so I've had a lot of time to knock a lot of these out. I want to take a couple Gilmore Girls quizzes. This one's, can we guess your relationship? Why is there a Sargento cheese ad that has no way to get out of it? I don't want the recipe. Sargento. Okay, that was weird. This one is called Can We Guess Your Relationship Status Based on Your Opinions About Gilmore Girls? My relationship status is alone. So let's see. Pick your OTP. It's gotta be Lorelai and Luke over everyone. I love Jess. I don't necessarily think Rory and Jess are like the perfect pair, but Lorelai and Luke, till the day I die. Till the day I die, Lorelai and Luke. Pick who you hate. April, Christopher, Taylor, Nicole, and Dean. Okay, I don't like any of these people except for April, but it's between Dean and Christopher. Okay, at the end of the day, I don't like Dean at all, but I hate Christopher even more. Christopher is the worst. Like, I cannot stand that man. Every time he's on screen, I have a visceral reaction, and what I hate most about him is that he's charming, and he finds a way to charm himself back into their lives all the time and then disappoints them time and time again. I'm not a fan. Pick a place to work. The bookstore, duh, there's a books channel. I work with Andrew in the bookstore. Pick a town festival. It has to be the Firelight Festival. I love the Firelight Festival. That's such a fun episode. Okay, pick a best friend. Oh my god, Kirk. I do love Paris, but it has to be Kirk. Kirk is such an icon. I love Kirk so much. Pick a meal from Luke's. I was just talking about pancakes, and pancakes it shall be. Pancakes sound so good right now. Pick a jacket. The red corduroy Sherpa. That jacket lives rent-free in my mind. I think about the red corduroy Sherpa all the time. When I think of Lorelai, she's in the red corduroy Sherpa, but it's the red corduroy Sherpa every single day. Well, BuzzFeed has never been so far from the truth. Which Gilmore Girls guy is your soulmate? This is the one you really want to take. What movie would you watch on a date? None of the above. What is this? I'll go with The Graduate. I've never seen it, but I'm not watching The Notebook on a date. I'm not watching The Little Rascals on a date. I don't care for that. Where would you go on your honeymoon? I guess a city in Europe. This is a weird quiz. What would you order at Luke's? We already know pancakes. Pick a dog. My dog. I want my dog. But out of these dogs, I'll say that dog. Pick a type of fried potato. Waffle fries. Absolutely. Who do you want to be best friends with? Oh God, this is so hard. All Rudd. I love him. If you could only wear one jacket every day forever, which would it be? Well, it wouldn't be a sassy military jacket. That much I'll tell you for free. This seems versatile. This is a weird quiz. Pick a street to live on, and it's just pictures of streets. That looks nice. I don't know what I'm doing. Cookies and cream. And I also wanted to let you guys know that I will be ending my YouTube channel. Taylor Swift said karma is my boyfriend. What did I do? What did I do? Okay. Here's the thing. I'm going to say one thing about Gilmore Girls before all of you put think pieces in my comments about how much you hate Rory. If you hate Rory, good for you. But when I watch Gilmore Girls, I just simply want the happy vibes. I want the cozy happy vibes. I want the witty women. I simply don't want to read think pieces about why Rory Gilmore sucks. So this is just not the place to leave them is what I'm saying, because your readership will be low. That being said, tell me who your favorite character is from Gilmore Girls. If you've taken the Rory Gilmore reading challenge, tell me how many you got. Should I make another Rory Gilmore reading vlog? If you want to join either of the 2 book clubs that I run monthly, check out my Patreon below. You get a great Discord community and we have a ton of fun, and it's like the #1 way to support my channel. But other than that, like and subscribe, comment down below, all of the good things. And in case you haven't heard it today, I love you. Bye.